Hi, everybody. I'm Dakeem, and I'm back again with another episode of Casting Directors Say What, where you know the drill. Each month, I spotlight an amazing casting director in the industry because a lot of what we do is misunderstood. And I hope this series can not only shine a light on all the wonderful casting directors that I know that are just in the industry, the ones that I don't know too, and the hard work that they do to help bring other people's dreams to a reality. But I also hope that this can help some actors out there understand, the business a little bit more and the casting side of this process because you guys audition all the time and that's all your life is. And we're going to get to know the people who you're going to meet. And here's an amazing person that I was fortunate enough to get to know through the pandemic. The pandemic did bring some people together. And today, here's my amazing guest. Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Helen GALEK, and my company is Helen GALEK Casting.
Hi, Helen. Thanks for
Hi,
being here this
Nikki.
month. Tell
Thanks,
us
I'm
some of
so
the things.
thrilled.
Tell us some of the type of things that you cast.
Sure. So I fit in the indie market, in the low budget, in the areas that maybe people haven't used a casting person before. They do have a particular budget, they're not sure. So I have done various things from short films, full-length films, web series, readings, a lip-syncing drag show, a live industrial. I've done some voiceovers. I've done musicals. I've done legit children's theater. So it's one time I had to replace somebody. It's so funny. I was in touch with the director and they said, well, we can't really afford a casting director. And I said, okay, fine. It was nice having a lovely chat with you. Fine for the future.
Huh?
A month later, I mean, this is kind of sad for the actor. The lead actor gets COVID and has to be replaced immediately. So she said, if you can do this, I'll pay you what we would have, paid you had you taken on the casting for the film. So even though I was casting something else, Dakeem, I was up till 3 a.m. And interesting thing is, because we try so hard to be diverse, this time I needed a early 30s blonde woman. So so I was flooded. So it was great. It was great. I got it. And they loved, I actually got a referral from a friend because I reached out to everybody. I believe in being in a village.
Yeah.
And she got cast and I checked back later and they said, no, we love this actress's work. Thank you so much. So yeah, we have to be like actors, it could be the last minute. Okay.
You got to be ready and prepared, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now tell me a little bit about how you got started in casting.
So very interesting. It's kind of similar to how I also have a promotional sales background. Sometimes you do something that you don't necessarily think of it as a special talent. You just do it because it's fun, it's helpful. You don't know there's a career attached to it. So I always tell people from the early days, pre-internet, we had cast lists because, as you know, I'm an actor. And so a lot of times people would say, hey, Aline, do you know someone we're casting this role or we're casting this show? I need a replacement. And I would look at my cast list and I'd find them. And then it started out where I met a producer who brought me to the true auditions. That's the Theater Resources Unlimited, and they used to be live, and was just telling me about casting. He goes, go sit on the other side. Yeah. See what you're responding to. I also have to say, I have a very strong, I don't go into I'm psychic, but I have a very strong gut feeling when I meet people. I've actually called in people when I've met them through another friend and we're chatting for 5 minutes and I'm like, I like you, I want you to come in. So I started with Manhattan Theater Source. That was a theater that used to be on McDougal and 8th. Sadly, that and another building got ripped down for some other building that's coming up there, but it was volunteer run. So that was my way of my volunteer work, was casting the main shows. We had a lot of festivals, and that's when I started building up. That's when I used to keep the actual pictures and resumes and building up, and I love it. And I found like it's just as creative as acting. Yeah. And because I'm an actor, I think I'm in that, and I know there are a lot of casting people out there who do act also, but I think we're in this unique position where I feel for the actors, but I feel for the casting people and the producers and the writers, and I can see all sides. And I want to treat the actor the way I like to be treated, with all the
Exactly. That's
information.
my motto too.
Yeah, I'm here for you. Here's my information. And I also, I hope this doesn't sound corny, but I get excited when I get to tell an actor, like, well, the producer does, but when I know that they got the job, like that
Yeah,
is so exciting to me.
especially as somebody that you've seen sort of come
Yes.
up and like they've auditioned for you a lot and they're talented. That moment is just coming. They just have to stay consistent with it.
Yes.
It is really gratifying, right?
It is. It's great. So, and then I got my first 2 paying jobs from my acting teacher who used to teach at NYU.
Oh, wow.
And try to tell the film students, look, you're a director and a writer. You think you're going to cast your friends, but trust me, hire a casting person, because people don't realize there's large part of my job is scheduling.
Oh, yes.
Oh
my God.
As you know. So that's how I got my start with these 2 projects. And then the word of mouth and Facebook. And now it's very gratifying when on Facebook and I see something that says, hey, I'm looking for a casting director. And my name is among some of the ones, and even some bigger ones than me in the list, in the bold names. So
that's your hard work though,
Yeah.
and it's paying off. And you talked about a little bit that you love casting.
Mhm.
Can you talk just a little bit more about what's kept you doing this for so long? What about this side of the industry, has really kept you casting and not said, casting was fun, but I want to go to back to acting or something?
Well, I'm lucky I get to do both. I just shot a film yesterday and I did 2 things, and I did 2 musical workshops this winter.
Oh.
I started out musical theater, and I have to say, I still keep my singing up a little bit, but I kind of prefer casting it than performing in them. But who knows, that could change. I actually had to sing for a film audition.
Oh,
So
wow.
and that's when I met with you and I wanted to keep my commercial and voiceover strong. You have to juggle all the balls. So I actually do both. And as I said, because of my musical theater background, I love casting musicals because I can hear immediately, like within 8 bars, the singing, and I can actually tell the difference between a mover and a dancer because I have a big dance background.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I actually do both. I've actually even added writing to my
Hey, well, the more in the industry, the more success you'll have in it. Now, you talked a little bit about how you fell into casting in a way, and it was not something you were necessarily seeking out. That brings me to my next question. What advice would you have for someone today who watched your video and was like, wow, you really inspired me to explore casting, but how do I get started? Because I don't know where a school to go to or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I actually had that conversation. Somebody referred someone who goes to NYU who wanted to learn about casting. So we actually had a Zoom call 2 days ago. Well, I told this person, first of all, sit in on an audition. I said, well, not unfortunately, but the way the business is, we're doing so much online and self-tapes that it's not like I need a reader in my bedroom or, somebody to do it. Although a lot of the musicals I've cast have had live callbacks. So I said, if that comes up, I will bring you in the room. And the first thing for you to do is watch the audition, watch the actors and listen, because too, Dakeem, that sometimes your choice, you're not really crazy about the director producer's choice, but they've got the money and it's their vision. And I'm
it's your project, so go
it's their
for
project.
it.
And all I can do is maybe gently push them, but you're going to see you're going to hear the discussion about why somebody thinks somebody's right and why somebody isn't. And after a certain level, it's not because anybody's not good. It's
all about what's best for the project in the end.
Yes, what fits in the story. So I would say start with that and sit in on that and see if you can shadow a casting director, which is what I did. I sat in, there's a couple casting directors in New York where I was their reader and their monitor. And I watched them and I said, oh, wow, that's what I want to model. I want to go out and greet all the actors and make them feel comfortable. And so I would start doing that. And then what I'm doing even now, because I want to do more film, I'm going to a lot of film festivals, not just supporting my friends, but really just being amazed at what's out there.
Yeah.
And I have my business card. I have the actor card on one side, my casting card on the other side. And I said,
Love
here you
it.
go. If I do both, please call me. And, sometimes even if I get like a referral fee, I tell people if I have names on the top of my head, sometimes if it's a friend, I've given them a couple names, and some, I'll say, okay, a small referral fee, but I'd like the credit. And
Yeah.
I stick up for that. I said, get me
Yeah.
additional casting. I need the credit for that. So
And fellowships are also good too if you're
Mhm.
interested in getting. I know CBS has a fellowship where they
Right.
train people. So actors out there or people interested, keep an eye out for fellowships that are will sort of take you through and let you sit in castings for different type of shows and commercials and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yes, no, that's very important, because there was a lot of casting people had interns, but again, I don't even know what's going on now as we're getting, I don't know, a lot of people have given up their offices too.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's got to be somebody that's out there too. So yes, I would say check with casting people, even if it just means going through submissions.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's all a
Yeah.
learning experience.
Yes.
Now, what is your perspective on the current state of casting in the industry right now? What do you think actors should understand about where we are today as opposed to where we were back in 2019 or even 2020 now? Because we're starting to come out of it, but it just seems like every time we try to come out of something, something else comes away. Like we're coming out of the pandemic now, and here comes the writer's strike,
Right. Yes.
But what's your perspective on what actors should kind of be prepared for?
Well, I think they need to know, first of all, I don't know if a lot of them consider this. There's a chain of command, as we say. Now, I work in indie projects, so I may just have a director and producer above me. And so maybe they'll listen to me, or maybe we have to talk about it. But if you're doing network TV and commercials and, major films, you have like 8 layers of executive producers, corporate, the board, the client, and they don't sometimes realize it's not the casting director that gets you the job. And that's one thing I have to explain to actors. I can bring you in. My job is to give the director the biggest choice possible of really good actors, sometimes interesting choices. And I'll tell them right off, I know I'm going to go out of the box a little bit. And I've had those people cast, actually.
Yeah.
Things like I listen to them and I bring in my imagination, but I have to tell the actor, even when I sometimes may push you in a little, I have to see who I'm working with. I'm not the final choice.
Yeah. That's like one big misunderstanding
That's
about
huge.
what
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
I hear people all the time, oh, the casting people didn't do a great job on this. And I'm like, well, we brought the people in. We didn't say you're hired now.
Hello. Yes. I had that conversation. And so when people say, oh, please cast me, I said, no, I'll bring you in, and it has to be right. If you're not right for something, I'm not going to waste a director's time. And I mean, really, really not right for it. I don't mean where we're talking about thinking outside the box.
Right. And it's nothing personal either,
No, it's not. I know because I'm an actor, I'm aware of the flack that you're getting with the self-tapes and all that. And it was tough to learn, but now I enjoy them. I'm kind of happy with them.
Yeah. I mean, it's got its good sides and it's got its downsides too,
but
just
that's
like everything.
I was just gonna say, it's like everything in life. And I was listening to because I had met Rachel in a seminar. She's a doll, and I feel bad. She goes, we do listen to them. I'm up at 3 in the morning. And I don't doubt that casting directors do, but I also know, and I think a lot of actors forget, there's maybe 3 to 4 times as many tapes. When I was called in live, they maybe only saw for one role, maybe they saw 30 or 40. And I know you guys are saying 100, maybe to 200. So yeah, I'm not saying it's not frustrating. I feel that as an actor too. I get this great audition, this part's perfect for me, but I don't know what's out there. I don't. And, so I feel there's a lot. And now with all this AI and chat GPT and the shakeup of production companies, I think it's going to be tough for casting directors.
Yeah, and
You
for
know?
a little while until we get our bearing.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think actors should be doing now
Mhm.
to sort of get started in the industry? What's some realistic advice you can give for somebody who's decided to want to make this a career now in 2023?
To become an actor. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying? Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so this is something I've learned. I've had to transform. Yes, you're an artist, but you have to think like a business person. I have actually told people going to college for acting, I've actually said minor in business because
Yes,
doing,
I've given that
oh
advice.
my God, you're kidding
Oh, I
because
was just like, take a business class, just an
yes,
intro to business class or an
yes,
advertising class so you can learn how to advertise yourself. I
how
always
they
say,
think.
you know what, watch how a movie advertises itself. First,
Mhm,
they make the movie, right? You
mhm,
first you study, you make the
yeah,
movie. Then you tell people about the movie, right? You got to have little clips and examples of the movie, right?
exactly.
Then you got to have posters and materials. You know, that's a way thinking about promoting a film, but the film is all about you in a way.
Yes, it's true, and things have again, things have changed, and now there's so much information. So I mean, every time someone says, "Listen to this podcast and video," and I have like a whole list, and you're trying to, get it in, and too, the advertising used to be the rule of seven. I think it's 15 now. You need to see something 15 times
Mhm.
before it sticks with you. But I would say do that. Look at it as a career. As I said, I'm in a coaching program right now where I've had to have my whole thinking transformed. I'm the CEO of my business.
Yeah.
And, beside studying acting, the technique, you do need to study the business part, start seeing shows. Because I saw a lot of theater, well, I still do, but especially when I studied acting, because it's one thing to hear about something in class, but then when you go out and you see great films and great Broadway, and you're like, oh, that's what the teacher was talking about. Networking, never burn your bridges. Even if I was always taught this, my parents had a business. Even if you despise someone, just be cordial. You can always be cordial. You don't have to be best friends.
But let me talk to you a little bit about networking now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yes.
What advice would you have when it comes to networking? Like my first question to you is one, do you like being contacted by actors?
I do. Yes. In fact, I complain that they don't do it enough.
Now, how do you like being contacted by actors?
By email.
Yeah, that's the best way to get you.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
when they email you, here's the important question. What type of email from an actor gets your attention and what type of email you just ignore, you know?
I mean, I'll read them all. I don't know if I'll necessarily, I make contact. I've sometimes have contacted actors saying, you got to reformat your resume, this picture, or something that they've written. And I'll give them suggestions. Google, there's classes to take on how to like format your resume or how to do the reel. But what catches my eye is when someone has that together, when
Yeah.
someone, and I don't mean that has to be 1,000 credits, but when someone has like, is a respectful, my motto is be respectful and be authentic. So they're writing to me, they have their materials, they're explaining what they want. And my main thing is, okay, this is a nice email, but I tell them, please keep in touch. Like with me, every few months is enough. But as I said, I go to shows. I
Mhm.
actually, because I prefer calling in people whose work I've seen. And I can't tell you how many times out of a cast of 10, I hear back from 2 actors. I'm almost like begging them, here's my card. Please send me your stuff. Please
Yeah.
remind me when you're in something. And I know they don't get that a lot. So I'm telling
Yeah,
them,
so
and I
you'd be
still do
surprised
it.
sometimes when they just don't jump at that.
Yeah, so that's really what it is. Somebody who invites me to a show and already knows, you send me an industry comm.
Yeah.
I don't mean like for Broadway. I'm talking like off Broadway film festivals. If they're doing that, then I go, oh, that's somebody who's business savvy. They
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah,
And then you can work with them, right?
correct. Yes, because too, this is another thing, as I mentioned before, that we are hired by someone. So we need the actors, they make us look good.
Yes, exactly. Like
Yeah.
that, like we're your champion in the room. We
Right.
need you to look good for
Yes.
our own job benefit,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
it does. It goes it goes all the way
I
up.
was like, you have to look good because I have to get another casting job from this. So come on, you know?
Well, also too, it's your word. I always said
Yeah.
to them, and I know being in sales and all this, and I'm aware, I'm not saying I have any magical powers, but I know people listen to me and believe me. And so I always have to make sure that my word stands for all of that.
Yeah, because you know that's your reputation on the line.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you another quick question. If
Sure.
this is about actually submissions and stuff, if given the option between 2 takes or 3 takes to submit, what's your preferred limit, especially when you haven't specified? Or if you have, if you're like, I want 1 take, but they send you another one, what's your cutoff point? Do you want them to send one extra one that shows something different or 3?
That's a great question. I know as an actor, but the projects I work on, I don't make that request.
Mhm.
Because I'm not doing the one-liners that a lot of the television shows have. These are for actual roles.
Mhm.
So the 1 take will be enough. But if for some reason they say, hey, I thought of another reason, of course I'll watch it. But
Right,
it
but
usually in my little section of the world, it doesn't come up usually.
and what's one thing about self-tapes and virtual castings that you wish actors would understand going forward now?
Not to be scared of it. I know that, and this isn't trying to stereotype anybody because I'm a mature actor, if you want to go in that sense, but there are some who are, who are still not doing it and have blown audition opportunities. Look, when I first started, oh my God, I was in my kitchen trying to pull a neighbor in. I had no idea. But
Mhm.
I learned, it's 3 years later, I took an acting class that combined acting on a self-tape audition, a SAG. If you're a SAG member, it's free.
Mhm.
There's so many there's videos now on YouTube that, teachers have given. And so I would just say, please, for the ones who are like, oh, I'm not a tech person. I said, I don't consider myself a tech person. I learned how to edit my videos.
Yeah.
It's really important because when the pandemic started, I put a little video out. I have a casting page on Facebook and I said, don't become a Norma Desmond.
Yes.
Okay. And for all of you out there who don't know what I'm talking about, you better Google it.
Yeah, do your film
film
history. It's
It's a
important.
film history, but you need to pivot. And yeah, maybe it's not fun. I've gotten to the point where I enjoy it now because that's
It's
how
kind of
I do.
beneficial for you to be an actor
Yeah.
that knows it all. It's just going to help you
Yeah.
when you go forward pursuing this career. The more you
Yeah.
know, the more you can do for yourself. It's that knowledge will be helpful,
Yeah, but I just would say to them, don't be scared. I probably have a little lower needs than a lot of other people. And sometimes if I need to hear you sing because the director has to, I tell them, I don't care if you're sitting on your bed.
Yeah.
Could you just sing a song, record it for me?
Yeah. Now, I just have to say really quickly, I think
Sure.
it's really important and it's beneficial that you come from an actor's background too,
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
I think that really helps and support your casting, being a casting director, just because you understand what it's like to be on the other side of the
mm-hmm.
camera. So I just really appreciate that. And I love that aspect of your career and your journey. Now, really quick, one more question, your last rapid fire
Yeah.
question here at
Yes.
Casting Director Say What. I just want to pick your brain. What
Mhm.
was the last film, show, TV,
Mm.
or theater or performance that you really enjoyed that you'd want to recommend to us?
Okay. Well, on TV, I'm probably a little behind. I have to wait till I have like a weekend where I can binge. But in February, I binged. I've never done 2 seasons in a row. Ginny in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited. I actually, I got to tell you this, and might help the actors. I just posted on Facebook because people always accuse me of never resting.
Uh-huh.
So every once in a while I go, no, I was home in bed watching. I do rest. I know. And I was so turned on, but I also, as an actor, saw myself fit in that world. And that's very
Mhm.
important for actors too, to know which world you fit in. So when I posted it, someone I know that I'm just connected with on Facebook, another actor, said, "Oh, I know the writer." And I got off Facebook and I go, if I made like a little pitch to them, would you mind sending it off? So he did, and I follow, now I follow the writer on Instagram, and I'm not saying he's going to swoop down and give me a role, but I explained in the pitch video why I would fit into that show. So that's
Being
just an example.
proactive, right?
It's being proactive. So you were asking me like what actors can do with during like the pandemic. Oh my God, I'm even doing that. I got to tweak all my materials,
Yeah.
so and take classes. And this is the time now that if the writers have halted, like the pandemic, the casting directors and the directors, everybody's sitting around waiting. Maybe they're doing their other things, but they'll be more open
To have to meeting or
to
having you
meet,
pick
to
their
have a
brain
meeting
or
or something. Yeah,
working
this is
on
the
something.
time. And yeah,
Yep, always thinking like a business person. I
that's
love it.
right. Yes, took a while, but
Listen, thank you so much for joining
oh,
us this month on
thank you.
Casting Directors Say What. You were amazing, and I hope everybody found her information helpful from a casting director's standpoint and from an actor's standpoint. There's so much information to give, and that's what I hope this series can bring and help support everybody on their journey in this industry, because it could be a little tough sometimes.
I
But
think it's great you're doing that, Daikeem.
well, thank you so much for being here. And guys, I'll see you next month for another episode of Casting Say. Come on. There you go. Bye, everybody. See you next month.
Bye.